Yusuke's character in Yu Yu Hakusho is initially introduced as a misunderstood delinquent. He has a sort of rough personality that gets him into trouble because all he really knows how to do is to fight. But the violence inside of Yusuke does not come from a place of maliciousness. It comes from a place of honor more than anything else, which sometimes means he'll give a bad dude a beating that he deserves, but other times it really just means that fighting is like the language of friendship for him. And that's the reason why, for example, Kuwabara is secretly sort of his best friend, even though outwardly they act as rivals and enemies. They put on this show of rivalry because they actually need each other to fulfill their personalities. Because at the end of the day, both of them are ruffians who live for honor, and a proper ruffian needs a proper rival if they're gonna win any honor. But there's also a way in which the world at large kind of misunderstands Yusuke precisely because he has the heart of a ruffian. Most people think of him as a dangerous, degenerate lowlife, because all they really see in him is violence. They see a kid who lives to fight. But people who look upon Yusuke in this way really only do so because they don't understand the secret world of delinquent youth, which operates according to its own laws. This is a world in which Yusuke and Kuwabara can be best friends, precisely because of the fact that they are locked in an eternal death match, so that they can determine once and for all who is the stronger between the two. A friendship like that is ultimately not that hard to understand. It's really just boys being boys. But the problem is, boys like that cannot integrate into civilized society, because civilized society has no place for violence. And that's the whole reason why society sends boys like Yusuke to school. The point of schooling, from a societal point of view, is to beat the violence out of them, to train them like dogs, so that they can grow up to lead a quiet life and work a stable job and just as quietly die. But the problem with a kid like Yusuke is that he cannot be trained. There is no school equipped with the tools that could beat the violence out of him. And that's why Yusuke is kind of doomed to look like a hopeless degenerate to almost everyone in his life. Yusuke does fundamentally have a noble soul, but he also has the bad luck of being born into a society that does not allow him to express his nobility. And in fact, it even goes so far as to punish him for it, because it is precisely Yusuke's nobility that drives him to those forms of violence that are so unacceptable under ordinary civilizational norms. But then at the same time, this is also why it was almost like Yusuke's destiny that he would become a supernatural detective, a hunter of demons and spirits, and agent of gods. The supernatural world of demons and spirits is far more suited to Yusuke's ruffian temperament. His soul longs not merely for violence, but for honorable violence, or violence together with justice. But that just wasn't something that the human world could provide for him. He needed to transcend this world by fulfilling the destiny of his soul, by finding an outlet for its violence in the eternal wars of the spiritual domain.